INA, or Industria Nafte, is a vertically integrated Croatian petroleum company. It is headquartered in Zagreb, Croatia, operating in a vast range of locations. During this short video, we will outline the main initiatives proposed to make INA a more sustainable company. The concept of corporate sustainability has recently superseded that of CSR as a result of theoretical and practical evolution. Sustainability is defined as being the management of the risks and adding value in three main areas: the economic, environmental, and social, and functioning within the overlap of these areas. Sustainability is defined as sustainability. Oil and gas companies seem to contribute a huge amount of effort to project the image of being responsible. These efforts are not to promote the concept of altruism. Instead, their purpose is to protect these companies from public condemnation, especially after disasters such as the 2009 oil spill off the coast of Australia. When things in the oil industry go wrong, they go seriously wrong, and so these companies have to be in the media's eye during good times. They do this by publicizing sustainability reports and performing good deeds for the general society. The leaders in good sustainability practices in the oil industry are presently BP and Royal Dutch Shell. On the other hand, companies like PetroChina do not particularly engage in sustainability practices, and their activities in Sudan, for instance, attract a lot of negative criticism. INA is found in the middle of the spectrum between companies like PetroChina and companies like BP and Shell, being involved in some sustainability practices, but not really being one of the forerunners in the field. The company's key resource inputs are shown here. Capital is important because it drives all of INA's operations. The employees and the knowledge they carry with them are also an essential input to INA, as it is only with their expertise and experience that INA is able to carry out its operations. In addition, society is always greatly affected by INA's operations, and that its acceptance of INA is a key resource input. Additionally, the company would not be able to function without access to crude oil and natural gas, which it refines and subsequently sells on the market. Furthermore, INA's suppliers, such as Gazprom, are also essential input. Finally, the environment in which the company operates and the damage it withstands also forms a fundamental input to INA's processes. INA's current value proposition is summarized by its mission, vision, and core value statement. Its mission is to create higher value for its shareholders, its vision to have the best reputation possible, and its core values are an amalgamation of shareholder satisfaction and good reputation, with the environment being pretty low on the agenda. INA shareholders are shown here. The company's present organizational structure is shown here. The main highlights from INA's present value chain are as follows. The company is vertically integrated, and the CEO technically has to answer to the state as it is a major shareholder. With respect to human resources, it employs young individuals at no pay, and there was a lethal work-related accident in 2008. INA has developed sulfur dioxide capture, and it is modernizing its plants to EU standards. As it was mentioned before, INA depends on other companies to supply a part of its raw materials. The company already has one and is in the process of building a second natural gas bunker, which will be the largest in Central Europe. INA operates a call center where customers can file complaints about the company's services and product. In redesigning INA to make it more sustainable, we propose changes to be made in its key resource inputs, its value proposition, its governance mechanism, and its value chain. INA's key resource inputs cannot be radically changed, especially over the time frame considered in this report, which is the next 30 years. The main suggestions here are a more considerate use of the environment, greater attention to society, and less dependence on unstable suppliers. This will be discussed shortly. With respect to the new value proposition and governance mechanisms, the company will be more focused on the environment and society while maintaining healthy returns for its shareholders. The proposed new organizational structure of the company is shown. The main change here is the creation of two new posts on the management board, the Health and Safety Manager and the Environmental Protection Manager. These are essentially reducing INA's number of work-related accidents by focusing more on employee safety in every segment of the company and to underline the importance the company ascribes to the protection of the environment, respectively. The process initiatives proposed are methane and carbon capture, the use of renewables in certain situations, reforms in INA's education offerings, biofuel development, and oil recycling. Croatia is required as an Annex I country to submit an official report outlining the measures which have been implemented, as well as an emissions inventory to the UNFCCC Secretariat. The country is also currently a candidate for the EU, aiming to become a member by 2012, and consequently aspires to join the EU ETS. In light of this information, and since INA is the largest Croatian national company, it has to invest in clean development mechanism schemes in order to prepare for EU entry and membership to the EU ETS. Agriculture is the second highest greenhouse gas emitting industry in Croatia, with the primary gas emitted being methane, which has a multiplier effect of 25 compared to carbon dioxide. Consequently, by investing in the capture and storage of methane, INA will reduce Croatia's greenhouse gas footprint and enable the company to sell the accredited CERs on the carbon market, at the same time benefiting the farmers, who will get rid of their waste by selling it to INA and earning an extra income. With respect to carbon capture, the benefits lie in the removal of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, helping the environment, while simultaneously creating CERs or ERUs for the company to sell onto the market. As far as renewable sources of energy are concerned, INA can use solar power to supply its employees' accommodation facilities with electricity and also recycle water for the water needs of these facilities. These measures will reduce the respective countries' carbon footprint, and the company will pay less on electricity and water bills. As far as education opportunities INA offers, some serious changes need to take place. For instance, the young individuals it recruits over the summer months are only cleaning windshields in petrol stations and are not getting paid. INA needs to start giving more opportunities with respect to the posts offered to these individuals, and also needs to start paying them. These changes will allow INA to earn a more positive attitude from the societies it operates in, and will also allow the company to recruit more capable individuals that it can test during these internships. Finally, the investment in biofuels and oil recycling programs will aid the company financially by prolonging the availability of crude oil and by reusing old engine oil, respectively. Both of these schemes also significantly lower the company's carbon footprint. INA's proposed new value chain is shown here. The proposed initiatives are intended to transform INA into a sustainable company. However, there are twofold drawbacks in this case: the proposed changes and the untouched negative points, which we'll assess now. Firstly, the time frame being considered is the next 30 years, which may be considered too short, as some scientists claim that oil will run out after that. However, as this graph shows, conventional oil reserves will not run out before 2050, while the availability of oil will be also further prolonged by the use of biofuels. The importance oil and biofuels as a transitional mechanism to renewables will continue to have in the next years was also supported by BP's Mr. Ian Cohn at a talk at Imperial College. One further problem is that the government influences on INA were not addressed. This, however, is a grave issue and outside the scope of this work. Additionally, the problem of unstable suppliers was not discussed. The reasoning for this is that INA is already building the second of two of the largest natural gas storage bunkers in Central Europe in order to solve this problem. The risk of the proposed CDM projects not being approved is another risk, which has however been limited by selecting the same methodology and principles as an already UNFCCC approved project. As far as the use of renewable sources of energy is concerned, governments in the countries in which these will be implemented might disapprove of INA's self-dependence for energy and lack of local utility company support. Nonetheless, the recycling of water and use of solar energy will undoubtedly reduce the respective countries' carbon emissions and bring positive reputation for INA. Through the implementation of all the initiatives described in this video, we aspire to set INA as a role model of oil companies with respect to sustainability and create a new path for others to follow.